Unveiling the Eccentric Wisdom of Diogenes. Diogenes, the Greek philosopher, was a central figure in the Cynic movement, embodying an extreme ascetic way of life. His practices and beliefs starkly contrasted with the prevailing values of his time, challenging societal norms through his dedication to a life of simplicity and virtue. Unlike the common misconception, Diogenes did not make his home in a barrel but resided in a large ceramic jar in Athens. This choice was a testament to his commitment to minimalism and rejection of luxury, serving as a physical manifestation of his philosophical ideals. One of Diogenes' most renowned acts was his daylight quest with a lantern, searching for an honest man. This symbolic journey was not just a critique of perceived Athenian moral decay but also an illustration of his belief in the rarity of genuine virtue and integrity in society. Diogenes championed the philosophy of living in virtue in harmony with nature. He argued that true happiness and fulfillment were attainable through the embracement of a natural and unadorned life, free from the shackles of societal expectations and material wealth. His approach to life was punctuated by wit and humor, which Diogenes skillfully employed to critique Athenian society and its values. Through his clever repartee and public antics, he exposed the superficiality and hypocrisy of the social norms of his day, advocating for a return to a more authentic and virtuous way of living. Diogenes, a student of Antisthenes who was himself a pupil of Socrates, found himself deeply entrenched in a philosophical lineage of questioning societal norms. This connection placed him in a unique position to challenge the status quo, blending Socratic inquiry with a distinct cynicism towards Athenian life. Living in a large ceramic jar in Athens, Diogenes took asceticism to an extreme. This unconventional home symbolized his rejection of societal standards and material comforts. It wasn't just a residence but a public statement of his commitment to simplicity and a life unencumbered by the trappings of society. His quest for an honest man, lantern in hand during daylight, became emblematic of his philosophy. Diogenes wasn't just searching for honesty in the literal sense but was also critiquing the superficiality and moral corruption he saw rampant in Athenian society. This act was a vivid illustration of his cynicism and wit. Diogenes advocated for a life of virtue in harmony with nature, eschewing the artificial constructs of society. He believed that true happiness was attainable through self-sufficiency and living virtuously, a stark contrast to the Athenian pursuit of wealth and status. His philosophy was a call to return to the basics of human existence. His bold critiques and humorous jabs at Athenian society were not mere entertainment. Diogenes used his wit as a tool to challenge the values and norms of his time. Through scandalous public acts, he confronted social conventions, pushing the boundaries of what was deemed acceptable to provoke thought and reflection. Diogenes, in a display of extreme simplicity, once observed a child drinking water from his hands. This moment prompted him to discard his only possession, a cup, embracing an even more minimalist lifestyle. He argued that true happiness and self-sufficiency could be achieved with less, not more. His interactions with Plato were notable for their wit and humor. Diogenes famously critiqued Plato's abstract definition of a human being as a featherless biped, by presenting a plucked chicken, provocatively suggesting it fit Plato's criteria. This act underscored his belief in practical wisdom over theoretical knowledge. The philosopher's life took a dramatic turn when he was captured by pirates and sold into slavery. Displaying his unyielding spirit, Diogenes instructed his potential buyer on how he should be treated, showcasing his belief in autonomy and self-sufficiency even in the direst situations. Diogenes' influence extended beyond his immediate circle, significantly impacting Stoicism, a philosophical movement that valued wisdom and virtue above all. His lifestyle and teachings emphasized the sufficiency of virtue for happiness, a cornerstone of Stoic thought, demonstrating his lasting impact on philosophical discourse. Engaging publicly with other thinkers, Diogenes often challenged their ideas with a cynical perspective. His debates with Plato were particularly memorable, highlighting his skill in using humor and paradox to critique Athenian society and its values. Through these interactions, Diogenes cemented his legacy as a formidable and witty critic. Diogenes' disdain for wealth and power was legendary. He was known to mock the rich and powerful directly, showcasing his belief that true happiness comes not from material wealth, but from living a life of virtue. His fearless confrontations were a testament to his commitment to his philosophical principles. Living with an almost provocative level of simplicity, Diogenes practiced what he preached about self-sufficiency and austerity. He demonstrated that true contentment could be achieved without the trappings of conventional success. His lifestyle challenged the Athenian elite's values, advocating for a life unburdened by excess. Diogenes' actions often bordered on the scandalous by Athenian standards. He sought to dismantle societal norms through public acts that were considered outrageous at the time. These acts were not for shock value alone, but were deeply philosophical, aimed at questioning the status quo and urging a return to natural living. The story of Diogenes discarding his only cup upon seeing a child drink from his hands is a powerful symbol of his advocacy for simplicity. This act highlighted his belief in living with the bare minimum and finding innovative ways to reduce one's reliance on material possessions. His critique of Plato's definition of a human being, using a plucked chicken as a counterexample, was not just humorous but deeply insightful. Diogenes used wit to challenge complex philosophical ideas, making them accessible and questioning the practical value of such definitions in the pursuit of virtue. Diogenes challenged the Athenian notion of democracy with a radical approach, believing virtue was inherent and could not be taught through traditional means. His actions, often provocative and public, served as living demonstrations of his philosophy. By embodying his principles, he questioned the effectiveness of democratic education in cultivating true virtue. Despite his controversial lifestyle, Diogenes garnered respect from many for his unwavering commitment to the Cynic philosophy. His extreme asceticism and public acts of defiance against societal norms were seen not as mere eccentricity, but as a profound dedication to living out his ideals of self-sufficiency and virtue. Diogenes' death is shrouded in mystery and myth, with one such tale recounting that he passed away by voluntarily holding his breath. This story, whether true or not, encapsulates the essence of his life, a complete control over his desires and physical body, adhering strictly to his philosophical convictions until the very end. His teachings, though not recorded in systematic treatises, were passed down through vivid anecdotes that illustrated his philosophical principles in action. These stories, brimming with wit and insight, demonstrate Diogenes' ability to convey profound truths through simple, yet striking, actions and words, making his philosophy accessible and memorable. Diogenes remains one of Greek philosophy's most unforgettable figures, celebrated for his eccentricity and sharp wit. More than just a philosopher, he was a living critique of Athenian society, embodying his ideals in such a way that his life itself became a powerful philosophical statement. His legacy challenges us to question societal norms and live authentically. Diogenes' life serves as an enduring testament to the Cynic belief that true virtue lies in living a life untouched by societal corruption. His deliberate choice of an ascetic lifestyle in the heart of Athens was a living critique of the excesses and moral decay he saw around him. By embodying the principles he preached, Diogenes became a striking figure of philosophical integrity, challenging others to reflect on their own lives. The legendary encounter between Diogenes and Alexander the Great showcases the philosopher's utter disregard for earthly power and status. When Alexander offered to grant him any wish, Diogenes' simple request to not be shaded from the sun spoke volumes. This interaction highlights the essence of Diogenes' philosophy, that true contentment comes not from external possessions or status, but from an unburdened life lived in accordance with nature. Diogenes believed that the foundation of a prosperous state lies in the education of its youth, emphasizing the cultivation of virtue from a young age. This stance reveals his deep concern for the moral fabric of society and the future it would build. By advocating for an upbringing that focused on values rather than wealth or power, Diogenes aimed to reshape the societal norms of Athens. Skeptical of theoretical knowledge, Diogenes championed practical wisdom and living in harmony with nature. He questioned the value of speculative philosophy without direct application to life, arguing that true understanding comes from lived experience. This approach to knowledge underscores his belief in the importance of self-sufficiency and personal virtue over academic accolades or societal approval. Diogenes' philosophy can be seen as an early form of existentialism, where the individual's confrontation with the absurdity of societal values takes center stage. He lived his life as a critique of the Athenian way, challenging others to question the conventions and norms that dictated their lives. Through his actions and teachings, Diogenes invited his contemporaries and future generations to seek authenticity in a world of pretense. Diogenes' philosophy serves as an early beacon of existentialism, emphasizing the individual's struggle against society's absurd values. He championed living authentically, in stark contrast to the constructed norms and expectations of Athenian culture. His approach encouraged a personal confrontation with the very essence of existence, urging a life grounded in natural simplicity over artificial complexity. Through his actions and teachings, Diogenes offered a powerful critique of the social fabric of Athens. He dissected its market economy, political machinations, and cultural practices with a sharp wit, revealing the hollowness of societal achievements. His life was a testament to the belief that true wisdom and happiness come from understanding and challenging the status quo. In his radical rejection of conventional values, Diogenes was ahead of his time. By living in accordance with his own stringent principles, he demonstrated an unparalleled level of autonomy. This autonomy was not just personal but also philosophical, as he dismantled the accepted norms of his society, advocating for a life beyond the superficial allure of wealth, status, and power. Employing humor and paradox, Diogenes turned his life into a form of social critique. Each act and statement was a carefully crafted insight into the absurdity of societal conventions. Through his unconventional methods, he managed to convey deep philosophical insights, showcasing the power of living a life aligned with one's true nature. Diogenes is often regarded as the first anarchist of Western philosophy due to his utter rejection of governmental authority and social hierarchies. He saw all humans as equals, dismissing the arbitrary distinctions that society imposed based on wealth, status, or reputation. This perspective laid the groundwork for questioning the legitimacy of societal norms and the pursuit of a more authentic way of living. Diogenes believed in the fundamental equality of all humans, a principle that transcended the societal constructs of social status, wealth, and reputation. His life embodied this belief, as he treated all he met with the same level of disregard for their societal positions, focusing instead on their virtues and vices. His legacy serves as a beacon for those who question the norms and values imposed by society, urging them to seek a more genuine and authentic way of living. Diogenes championed a life stripped of pretensions, where happiness is not derived from external accolades but from living in harmony with one's true nature. The philosophical stance of Diogenes on ethics and happiness remains a topic of discussion among those pondering the essence of a good life. He posited that true contentment comes from within, advocating for a life of virtue that is independent of societal approval or material success. Despite his unconventional approach and methods, Diogenes' philosophy of cynicism has left an indelible mark on the world. His teachings continue to influence thinkers and movements, challenging individuals to reassess their values and the societal norms they abide by. Diogenes stands as an enduring symbol of resistance against materialism and superficial values. His life and teachings advocate for a return to simplicity and authenticity, encouraging individuals to live in accordance with their true nature and to find happiness in self-sufficiency and virtue.